Yo, welcome to the Vibe Provider podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Friel, and today's episode is ADHD diaries. I'm reading a few stories of how people realized they had ADHD, and your girl has mad ADHD. The ADHD be ADHDing for me. So I was actually talking to some friends about how I feel like I'm getting super frustrated just with side effects of having ADHD. And when I say side effects, my brother pointed it out. So my brother's a doctor and he's like, you can have side effects from having ADHD, like not doing anything about it and like suffering from that, or you can have get on medication and have side effects from medication. So it's just whatever you prefer. And so when he told me that, I have been looking at it that way about since I am not doing anything to help with ADHD, I feel like I'm suffering from the side effects of ADHD, which I'll tell my story last during topic time. But reading some of the stories that I got, it literally made me feel so seen. So anyways, I feel like a lot of us struggle with ADHD, or maybe not struggle, but just like have it and deal with it. And like sometimes it's so funny and sometimes it's not so funny. So that's today's topic. But before we get into the topic, I always do life update and a current hyperfixation. But my life update is pretty beefy this week. So first things first, my friend Missy, she's been on the podcast before. The last episode we did together were top 5. So if you want to go listen to that, she's super fun. She's awesome, but she's a close friend, and she was telling me how she's going to do low spend September. Years ago, her and her husband would do no spend September, and just to kind of eat the stuff that's, eat some of the things out of the pantry and out of the deep freezer so it just doesn't go in there and die, is what she said. So they try and do low spend September just to, sorry, my dog is trying to find a cozy spot on the rug and he's just going in circles. So, sir, please just have a seat. So sorry, back to what we were talking about, low spend September. So my friend, she gets like necessities. Cheese sticks are a necessity in her house. What else did she say was a necessity? If she runs out of like a night cream or something that she uses daily, like she'll go get it. But other than that, like they're pretty much not spending. They're not going out to eat. She's not hitting up Amazon, getting new clothes, things like that. So when she was telling me that, and she was telling me how she didn't want to be ordering things on Amazon or shopping, and even though she said it was going to be super hard, I had mentioned, I was like, well, let's try and wear our clothes, like the clothes that we do have, because her closet's pretty beefy and so is mine. So we took it upon ourselves to wear our clothes this month. So we made it a goal to share an outfit every day on social media. You can check her outfits out at Checked Out Kitchen and mine at Caitlin Friel. But along with Missy's stories, she's also sharing about low spend September. So she's meal planning with stuff that she already has. She's been sharing it over on her page. So if you want to like check out someone who's like not consuming, it's pretty fun to watch, to see her do it. It's like exciting. It's almost like, I don't know, we're just so used to spending these days and just consuming that it's like kind of exciting to see someone not. So again, you can see those stories at Checked Out Kitchen. She's awesome. She did mention she did buy a plant at Costco. She said, I kind of cheated, but it's funny. So she shared all that. But anyways, I try to do no spend, but I've been bad recently. But I am just trying to wear the clothes that I have. And then at the end of the month, I can kind of go through my closet and see like, what can I get rid of? Because I have not touched that. I was telling Missy how I just rewear the same things. Like my laundry is always the same. Like every week I go to wash my clothes and then I just rewear those clothes again. So I'm trying to be better and wear all the things that I have. And then at the end of the month, we'll do a little inventory and see what we should keep and what we shouldn't. But if you want to participate in that, you should tag us, Operation Wear Your Clothes. So tag Caitlin Friel or Checked Out Kitchen. We want to see what you're wearing, what your outfits are like. Oh, and another rule is we cannot wear the same outfit twice. We can wear the same items, but like, if I wear jeans and a shirt, I wear those jeans with something else later, and that shirt with something else later. So you can't be outfit repeaters. You have to switch it up. So it's been fun. I actually think about like what I'm wearing every day. It makes me get dressed. I feel like when I'm dressed and ready for the day, I get more stuff done. So it's like win-win all around. So that's like my first life update thing that I've been doing, which has been kind of fun. But my second life update is so wild. um, it was Labor Day weekend last weekend, and I wasn't really doing much, just kind of hanging around, photos and things, nothing crazy. But as you guys know, well, if you've listened to past episodes, I had a dog mom car, a 2004 Honda Pilot, paid off. All the seats went flat in the back, and it was the perfect car for my dogs. I have two big dogs, a Bernese Mountain Dog, Bernie, and a Golden Retriever, Pete. And we go everywhere together. So I loved that car, but it died. And my dad told me like one of his friends was selling his car, but he wasn't ready yet to sell. And so I just bought like a 2003 Subaru Outback. I knew my nephew was going to get his license. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to buy this car. It's a pretty good price. And then when I go to buy my dad's friend's car, I can sell this car to my nephew. So I buy the Subaru and I drive it around for like a month or two. And I thought I had enough time before my nephew got his license that hopefully my dad's friend would be ready to sell his car. Um, that was not the case. And my nephew got his license at the end of August. And he was so excited to drive. And he was super cool and was like, hey, no rush. Let me know like when you're ready to sell the Subaru. I'm happy to buy it. But since he got his license, I knew he was probably so excited to drive and finally have that freedom that I was like, I just need to sell him the car. So I ended up selling him the Subaru. He got his license on Wednesday. He bought the Subaru. I got it all ready for him, cleaned out, washed, ready to be a new used car for someone else, and sold it to him, and he got the Subaru on Sunday. And so that meant I was carless. And when I knew my nephew got his license on Wednesday, I texted my dad. My dad was actually the one who found me my Honda Pilot, my dog mom car. And it was amazing. And so I texted my dad and I was like, Dad, I need another car. But the thing about me is I don't want a car payment. I do not want to be locked down like that. I like to spend my money on fun things like trips and clothes and all of that. So having a car payment would have been super depressing. And so I reached out to my dad and I said, please like help me find a car. And so my dad ended up finding me a car by Thursday, and it was a Suburban, which is so big. And he said he'll go look at it on Saturday. And so and this is the same week of my nephew getting his license. So my nephew got his license on Wednesday. My dad found me a potential car on Thursday. He was going to go look at it Saturday, and I was selling my car to my nephew on Sunday. So my dad saw the Suburban on Saturday and said, this is a great car. I'm going to be buying it. Like, send me the money and I'll be getting you the Suburban. And so I ended up getting the Suburban on Saturday. But the thing is, my parents live in Washington State and I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so even though having a car was such a relief. It was also like, how am I going to get the car? So Sunday, I drop off the car to my nephew, and I'm kind of like looking at one-way tickets to Washington just to see like if I could fly up, drive back Tuesday. Um, but I wasn't, it was like $300, and that was just kind of like, oh, I do not want to spend a bunch of money. Um, my husband was like, you should text our friends who are pilots and see if they can get you like on a standby or a buddy pass or something. The thing about me though is I hate asking for help. I hate feeling like, I don't know. I just hate doing that. I rather spend $300 than ask someone for help. So I ended up texting my friends. It was late Sunday night, and I knew they were going to be sleeping because they're pilots, and so they have early morning schedules. But I texted them that night, and I was like, is there any way we can get me to Washington on like a standby or buddy ticket? But I didn't hear from them. So I went to bed, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought my Monday was going to be like a fun holiday, just get things done type thing. I wake up, and one of my friends who's a pilot messaged me and was like, hey, I can get you on this flight that has a bunch of wide open seats to Oakland, and then Oakland to Seattle, which also has a bunch of seats. So call me. And I called him, and he was like, can you get to the airport within like the next hour so then you can like, get to the gate, ask if you can get on, all of that jazz. So my Monday morning went from me thinking it was going to be so chill to hurrying and letting the dogs out, to packing an overnight bag, to get to the airport, fly all day from Salt Lake City to Seattle, having my parents come pick me up, and then driving my car back the very next day. And everything went so smoothly. It was so crazy, and I just kept thinking like, I can't believe this is all happening. So I get to Seattle, my parents pick me up, we get home, but since it's a Monday and it's Labor Day, the DMV is not open, so we have to wait till Tuesday morning to get a temporary tag to drive the car from Washington to Salt Lake, and it's just me. So I have to make this 13 and a half hour drive from Washington to where my parents live to my home in Salt Lake City. And I ended up doing it. I listened to Sabrina Carpenter's new album like the whole way, and I listened to some audiobooks and just chatted on the phone a few times. It ended up being like totally okay. I'm like the sleepiest person on the planet. Like, I'm sleepy. I love napping. I love going to bed. I love sleeping in. And so I was a little worried that I would have to like stop and just finish the drive the next day. But I had to be home by Wednesday night because I had a photo shoot. I made the drive. I was not drowsy at all. I mean, I yawned a couple times, but other than that, I was alert, awake. Everything was great. It went so smooth. The car drove great. And I made it home at like, I think I left around 9:30 because the DMV in my parents' town opened at 9. And then I got home at 1:30 a.m. So it was crazy. Shout out to Sabrina Carpenter for keeping me wide awake. And yeah, so that was like the beginning of my week. And then I spent all day Wednesday just doing things for the car, like getting an emissions test, going to the DMV, registering it on, and all that jazz. And yeah. And then Thursday, Kala got me an early Christmas present and put Apple CarPlay in it. I ended up doing that yesterday and just cleaning and things. And now that leads us to today, Friday. So it was a crazy week, a crazy couple of days, flying all the way to Washington and driving a car back. But I have a car, all is well. So anyways, that was pretty crazy. Now it's feeling like low key again. But Sunday, me and my husband are meeting our friends in California, and we're doing Boogie Bash at Disneyland, and we've never done that before. So we're so excited. My friends are amped. We got our pins ready to trade. We have matching shirts for one of the days. We all have villain shirts, and we all have like a different villain on our shirt. So Kala is Sean Yu from Mulan. It's the Hun that like leads the Huns into like trying to like take over, anyways, Beijing, I think. And then I'm either going to be Evil Queen or Cruella de Vil. I actually have shirts for both. But I was gonna be Cruella de Vil first because there's these cute Cruella ears from Disney. And then so I got my shirt and I went to go buy the ears off of Shop Disney and then they were gone. So then I had to get back on Etsy and order Evil Queen because I could order Evil Queen ears to match from Shop Disney. So I'm gonna bring both shirts just in case they have Cruella ears at Disneyland when we go. So I guess we'll see who I end up being for Boogie Bash when we get there. But we're excited. I'm amped. It's gonna be such a blast. I've never done it, so I'm excited. Boogie Bash is like a nighttime event. You have to get like separate tickets for it, but it's like the villains are out. There's gonna be like rides open that are like gonna be more spooky, I think, and you can do like what's it called? Trick or treating. So it's gonna be a blast. But I'm finally finished with Life Update. That was long, but it was mostly crazy because the dang car situation. But moving on to current hyperfixation. It is cardigans. Especially the ones from Old Navy. They kind of went viral on TikTok. It's called So Soft Cropped Cardigan, but it's actually not that cropped. But it buttons all the way to like your neck, and I've been seeing it styled all over TikTok. Not Old Navy cardigans. I mean those did go viral on TikTok, but cardigans in general, people are like buttoning them at the top but then like keeping them open with like a cute little shirt, jean combo, boxers, like it's cute. So I've been eyeing some. I just like obviously I don't want to be spending money, so I haven't like pulled the trigger, but it's so cute. There's this brown one from Old Navy. I think the color's called Sedimentary. It's like a brown color. It looks really cute with black jeans. So that's like the one I'm leaning towards. I haven't bought it though. I'm just thinking about it. I have some cardigans, but not like that button all the way to your neck. So I'm like, do I get one? I don't know. Okay, and then another thing that was a hyperfixation, but I ended up purchasing, were the Dylan platform clogs in color lava. They came out like in the springtime. I want to say like February or March. I first saw Kylie Kadich wear them. She is like a cute Instagram girl, TikToker, and she does like home renovations and projects. And she was wearing the color lava, and she would wear them with like absolutely everything. She was wearing them with like her day-to-day outfits, but with her like cute little overalls that she wears for projects. And that's where I was like, those Crocs are so cute. And I went to go buy my size and they were sold out, and they've been sold out for months. And I checked recently and they were back in stock, and your girl copped them. So they should be arriving today, actually, Friday. And I'm so excited. So I got 2 pairs of shoes in the last couple of months that I have wanted, and finally they got back in stock. And one of them, they're both clogs actually and platform. One of them was the Doc Martens, and then these are the Crocs. So anyways, I'm excited. I told myself I would only buy the color lava because that's like the color that I loved the most, and then they came back in stock, so I purchased, and I cannot wait to get them. I think they're gonna look so cute with absolutely everything, and I have some pants that are kind of long, and so a little platform will be perfect for him. But anyways, that's all for current hyperfixation. So now we're getting into topic time. And topic time today is the ADHD diaries. And I ended up thinking about talking about this because I was talking with friends about how I'm so frustrated with my own ADHD that I was going to read some stories from some others. And they were so relatable to me. So I'm curious to see if you relate to any of them. But here we go. First story. I got diagnosed a while ago, but before that, I always sort of knew something was wrong. Things like studying/focusing and remembering important stuff seemed to come so naturally to other people, but not for me. I also noticed that I talk/think differently and have trouble sticking to one topic at a time. My brain likes to connect things when thinking. Example, talking to someone about a certain food that reminds me of how I went to a restaurant where they sold that with a friend once, then I'll Then I'll remember something else I did with that friend, and so on. My thoughts aren't linear, they work by association. Think of connecting the dots. I also zone out pretty often. Hyperfixations are also a pretty big thing. You get so obsessed with something that it's all you can think about for a while and it disrupts every aspect of your life. So when I saw the hyperfixation part in that story, I was like, that's literally something I do on the podcast. It's like talk about my current hyperfixations or like my guests' hyperfixations on the podcast. So I was like, wow, that just goes to show that like your girl has ADHD. I like talking about hyperfixations. I like seeing what people are super interested in. But yeah, crazy. That one related big time with the hyperfixation. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't disrupt every aspect of my life, but I definitely get thinking about things for a while. Like, I've been wanting to scrapbook, and so I've been constantly thinking about scrapbooking, but I haven't bought any of the things to do it because I'm worried that if I buy the things and I do it and then I end up like not being good at it, or it's like not turning out, that I like just won't do it anymore. And like then I have all this stuff for scrapbooking and then I'm not creating with it. Anyways, so lame. But okay, so that was story number 1. Story number 2. For me, it was watching my wife study. She would have a cup of coffee and just with sheer discipline sit and study for 10 hours in a day. She would make a sensible and achievable list of goals for the day and slowly but surely check them off one by one. She was able to channel her stress into productivity. I was chaotic. I would make a messy list of vague goals, then get frustrated and overwhelmed. So I'd throw the list away. I'd start studying on the wrong chapters because I didn't read the instructions closely enough. Then I would be too stressed, so I would wash the dishes to take a break, and then the next thing I knew, I was cleaning my room. Then I was researching which car to buy, then home renovation tips, then sports stories, and so on. My wife would try to redirect me back to my studying, so I'd sit back down. I could feel my chest get tight. I would read and reread the same paragraphs over and over and over again. It felt like my brain had this impenetrable fog and nothing could get through it. I would read the words slowly and aloud, but nothing made it through. Hours would go by and I would be genuinely no farther along than when I started. I would get close to tears. The frustration was so intense. I've even hit and punched myself on several occasions because I felt so stupid and inept. This would repeat day after day after day. All this when I am genuinely interested in the field I'm studying. Ugh. I feel like that's so relatable, especially to the part where he was like, I would get so close to tears. The frustration was so intense. I feel like lately I've been feeling that I feel like I know what I need to get done and it doesn't happen. And I get so frustrated with myself. But like at the same time, I don't know. He said it perfectly. I've definitely been, that whole paragraph has definitely been me at times. Especially when I was in school. When I was in college, it was so difficult. Gosh, it's so relatable. I mean, when I was taking biology, I was studying, or maybe it wasn't biology, but it was a college course, and I was studying, and then I felt so good about it. I took the test and I got a D. And I was like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm done. I'm not even going to try because me trying is still almost failing. And, anyways, I ended up dropping out of college. I'm a college dropout, so now I look back and think, wow, maybe it was like the ADHD. Anyways, when I saw that story, I was like, oh my gosh, that has been me. Okay, but moving on to the next story. My biggest things were not being able to follow/remember verbal instructions, constantly cutting people off, talking/finishing sentences, not being able to listen to someone talk for longer than a minute or so without getting distracted, having to reread paragraphs in school like 8 to 10 times because I'd skim or get sidetracked halfway, impulsiveness with spending and sometimes bad decisions, very forgetful with where I put things or appointments, executive dysfunction. When I had a lot to get done, I'd just feel overwhelmed and lay in bed scrolling for 8 hours instead. Not being able to start things because there were too many steps or preliminary things I felt I had to get done first. Making simple mistakes from rushing over things, sometimes over hyper focused. zombie, and over time's very hyper and all over the place. Gosh, dude, that's me again. Wow. So Kala and I have a YouTube channel. We haven't posted on it in a very long time, but one thing that someone pointed out was that I would cut off Kala, and it made me feel terrible. And it made me feel like the worst that someone noticed that I was constantly cutting off Kala. And so when we were making YouTube videos, I would try so hard to let Kala finish talking before I started. And it made me reflect, like, how many times was I cutting off people and them thinking I was rude and inconsiderate. I tell my closest friends that if I ever cut you off, I literally just have to say it or else I'll forget it. Because if I wait my turn and then it gets to me, I have forgotten what I was going to say. So I feel like that's another reason why I interrupt. But regardless, it's not okay. I am definitely trying my very best to not cut people off. And that, like, if I don't remember it, it's no big deal. Like, I just don't add something to the conversation that time, which is not a big deal. So it's something I'm working on. I totally feel for this girl. What were some other things in here? Yeah, verbal instructions are a no. I need visual. I'm a visual learner. Um, Yeah, another thing was like being overwhelmed and then wanting to lay in bed and just scroll instead. And then another thing is there were too many steps that I had to do before doing something. Yes. Yes to all of it. It's like I'm reading all my own life stories right now, but I'm not. Okay, but we'll go to the next story. Never knew anything about it, to be honest. I just thought those quirks of mine were normal. Not until I had my first relationship. Me being forgetful, getting distracted so easily, and sometimes interrupting our conversations were the main issues in our relationships. I was told I was being disrespectful, and it was true. I tried to change, but if I ended up doing it again, he would get super upset. Gosh, I just wish that, like, our spouses, our partners could just, like, understand a little bit better. Like, Kala is so different from me, and that's so amazing. I feel like that's one of the reasons we work so well. He doesn't struggle with anxiety. He doesn't have ADHD, but I feel like I wish he could just get a glimpse in my brain to truly understand, like, why I am the way I am. Because I think he does get frustrated. Like, um, one story back when I mentioned about, like, not doing something because you have to do, like, something before it is so me. So he'll be like, oh, why isn't this done yet? And I can't just be like, oh, well, there were other things I had to do, but I didn't get it done, so therefore I couldn't do that. I feel so seen, though, by these other people with ADHD. But we'll move on to my last story, and then I'll share my own little ADHD diary. But this one says, when I realized no one else seemed to be struggling like me to keep hobbies or to communicate well without error, and when I realized my energy levels were much higher than my age group, college at the time, I never wanted to sit much. I should have realized when I was redoing my school courses every night in grade school because I couldn't pay attention in class, but I wanted straight A's. Oh, man. Struggling to keep hobbies. That's another reason I chose this story to read, because I feel like me too. Like I said with scrapbooking, I want to, like, get that. I want to have scrapbooking as a hobby, but I'm so worried that I'll keep up with it. So I haven't started it, but I really want to, because I love photography and printing out photos, and I love memories and looking back. But anyways, that's my last story to read. And then, so now I'll share my own ADHD diary. Um, so this is the story I told my friend that made me think about sharing this on the podcast. Was I will make a to-do list, and let's say I'll start with starting laundry, and then I'll be working on it, but I won't finish it. And I'll move on to editing my podcast, and I'll edit it for a little bit and I won't finish it. And then I'll move to cleaning up my bedroom, but I won't finish cleaning it, and I'll move to vacuuming, and then I'll do some of the rooms, but not every room, and then I'll move to something else. And then Kala gets home and he's like, hey, how was your day? And I want to be like, oh, I accomplished so much. But I can't say that because I never finished anything. So I've been working all day long, but I have nothing to show for the work that I did. So that is one of the most frustrating things that I feel like I deal with, is not completing tasks and feeling like I've been doing and working all day long, but nothing's finished. And so I was telling my friend that story, and she was like, she had said like, oh my gosh, maybe I have ADHD. So I know it's like a common thing, but I wish so badly I could just get a to-do list and check one thing off, one thing after another. But that's my own personal story. That's like one thing I struggle with all the time, is I'm not completing something before moving on to the next thing. I'm constantly jumping from one thing to the other. And going back to one of the first stories that I read, was the guy saying that like he was studying, but he wasn't like doing very good, so he'll go do the dishes instead, and then after that he'll go clean his room. That's me. I feel like Kalan knows when I need to get something done, because I'm like, oh, I want to clean the house first, and he's like, you just need to go finish your podcast, or you just need to go finish editing these photos. Anyways, thanks for letting me share about the ADHD diaries. I'm curious to hear if like any of you are like, oh my gosh, you're literally describing me. Or if you're like, no, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. My brain does not work like that. Thank goodness. But thanks again for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.